Hello. I have a question for you. How much enjoyment are you getting from your life? I don't think many people ask this question. I was just thinking it as I was drawn to this spot to talk to you on my morning walk and in this sunny Sedona. Oh my gosh, I love the warmth. I'm so happy. But I thought of this question because I was sitting here waiting to go live, and there are these small planes that fly overhead, and it was making a lot of noise. And I thought, okay, I'm going to wait here. I'm going to wait for the plane. And, a lot of people would have stopped and scrolled and really complained in their head and kind of, been upset about it or gotten distracted and started thinking about how much work they have to do. But what I did in that moment that I want to offer to you is I paused and I got really present. And what happened is that when I became present to just being here now, I saw these two doves, so adorable. They were kind of pecking near each other, and they were just kind of doing this little dance. It's that time of year where little birds have coupled off, and these two birds were just doing this little dance, and it was just so joyful, and I was watching them. And I don't know that many people do this. I talked to a lawyer one time, and I was talking to her about the sense of awe that we can feel when we look up in the sky and see all of the stars. And she says, I don't think I've ever looked up at the sky before at night, because we're not present with the totality of this existence that we have that is magical. If you really sit with the magic of our lives and the lives that are surrounding us, it's pretty incredible. I could sit here in this splendor of the mountains and the birds and the trees and the beautiful fresh air I get to breathe in. I could focus on that, or I get the choice of focusing on the plane flying overhead. So, I get to choose my focus. My thoughts are optional. And I think about how often we get frustrated at little things that are happening that are out of our control. I can't control the plane schedule. I can't control whether or not there's somebody, I don't know what they're doing. There's some other thing happening that's making noise. I can't control that. What I can control is how I think, what I focus my attention on, and what I decide is relevant for me. And what's relevant for me is enjoying the splendor, enjoying the magic, talking to you about this topic that is so crucial to our fulfillment, our happiness. And yet so many of us are oblivious to it, not because there's anything wrong with you. I think most of society is oblivious to this. I think that the people who are in awe of the world, we're like the 3%ers of the world, the 1%ers of the world, who are amazed at how our skin heals, how when we drink water, it's healing and nourishing, how when we have a meal, it's nourishing our bodies and it's doing all of these things automatically, how when we breathe, it's all automatic. We don't have to tell ourselves to breathe. We don't have to tell our heart to beat. It's all happening on its own. And yet so few of us really focus on that. Most of us are focused on the day-to-day annoyances. Most of us are focused on, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I have to. Think about that. I have to. How do you feel when you think that? I have to. It's the sense of obligation. It feels heavy. When you begin to pay more attention to your feelings and your thoughts, you will begin to see exactly how you're living your life and whether or not you can ask yourself this. Do I like this? One of the things that I do, and I'll offer this to you as a practice, is in the morning, I just notice, how do I feel? Do I feel heavy? Do I feel light? Do I feel open? Do I feel closed? And that alone brings you into the present moment. It brings you into this moment, this opportunity that you have to decide the turn of your day. Where do you want your day to go? And I will notice sometimes I'll wake up and I feel really heavy and I'll feel really closed. And I'll say, okay, let's just take a moment. Let's just stay here and breathe. And I'll breathe in. I love this exercise. I teach it to my timepiece for lawyers students. They love this exercise. I've gotten so many comments on it. Calms anxiety, calms overwhelm. You'll feel so good. I like to place my hand on my heart because it helps me bring me present to my body and to be present here in my heart. So I will breathe in for 5 breaths, like not 5 breaths, but 5 beats, right? So hold it for 7, and then I will release for 8. Doing that, even just a few times, but you could do it I would do it for a few minutes. I do it for a few minutes. That will help your body regulate, come back into regulation. Your nervous system, your cortisol levels are going to go down, and you are going to feel so much better. That's just one exercise you can do to help you come into the present moment. And then this is the next thing I would do. I would start to look at, okay, I've got myself regulated. So now let's take a look at what's going on in my brain. What am I thinking about? Because the thoughts that we have create our feelings. So what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about, I have so much to do. I have a lot on my calendar. There is a client I'm dreading talking to. There is, fill in the blank. It's all in the future. Notice this. Like everything that I just mentioned would all be things that are in the future. And I'm talking about coming back to the present moment over and over again. Because the present moment is where you have power. The present moment is where you have the ability to turn your life in the direction you want to turn it to. But we spend so little time, most humans spend so little time in the present moment, including myself, that we cannot create the turns that we need to enjoy our life. But if you come more and more into the present moment, you get to be empowered. You get to have the power to create the life you want. You get to be the master of your day, of your fate, of everything before you. But you can't do that until you learn how to get into the present moment, until you learn how to focus your attention. Because where your attention is where you are. That's where your energy is. That's where your focus is, right? So if you put your focus on the things that don't matter, on the things you can't control, well, you're going to have a real problem in life, right? It's going to be really hard. You're going to make your life harder than you need to. I used to do that a lot, so I don't want you to think you're doing anything wrong. This was a habit I needed to learn how to create for myself. I needed to learn how to get more and more into the present moment. Am I perfect at it? No way. My brain is still noisy, but the difference is over time, when you begin to tap into the present moment, you begin to notice how you feel, and you begin to notice how you're thinking, and you begin to notice how your thoughts are creating the problems, how your thoughts are creating the solutions, how you actually are a powerful creator in your life when you get present and you start to notice these things. Let me give you an example. One of the things I've gotten really good at, and this is what I teach my clients to get good at too, and when they do, oh my gosh, their businesses take off, their personal lives take off, like they feel so good every day, and they're like, what? Is they begin to notice how they feel. Now, look, I was a criminal prosecutor for 15 plus years. I, have prosecuted everything from, DUI to homicide. I have been in prisons and, been in those environments. And so I really had to learn how to toughen myself up. And I was always pretty tough, but I didn't ever think that tapping into your feelings was powerful. In fact, I was taught the opposite. I was told to suppress my feelings. I was told not to feel my feelings, just get to work, ignore it, move on. This is something I have found working with lawyers is very common in our parental backgrounds. very much the suck it up and move on. And then we end up adopting that dialogue and telling ourselves, suck it up and move on. You're being lazy. You're not disciplined enough. And we start being the one cracking the whip on ourselves versus learning the skill of tapping into our feelings, because that is actually what's powerful. And I think society has tried to, I think it's getting better now. I see so many things now in mainstream that is about tapping into your emotions. But here's what I want you to just take away from this is to get present to your emotions, feel them. And this was the example I was going to give you, which is when you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing that you do? A lot of people, the first thing that they do is check their email, they turn on a podcast, they turn on the news. I want you, if you do any of those things, to ask yourself, how do you feel when you're listening to that podcast, to the news, to, scrolling the headlines, to checking your email? Just ask yourself, how do I feel? Because this is what I have noticed. Sometimes I'll wake up, I'll go through the practices that I just talked about, the 5-7-8 breathing, I'll notice my thoughts, and then I'll do something like I did this morning, and I will turn on a podcast, and I'll listen to it, and I'll be interested in it, but I won't be present completely, because I'll be doing a few different things. But as soon as I notice that I am multitasking, right, which is just kind of a funny thing, right? Like multitasking isn't even a real thing, but our attention can be on the podcast, and then at the same time for me, I am preparing my water for the day, I'm making coffee, I'm preparing my dog's food, my cat's food. Like, I'm doing these things at the same time I'm listening to the podcast. And then I keep coming present, like I keep coming back to the present moment, coming back to me and how I feel. And if I start to feel a little anxiety or a little tension, I pause, because I know I'm creating an environment just by waking up, how I wake up, what I'm thinking, what I put on in the morning, what I choose to look at. I'm creating an environment that is going to take me through my day. It's the turn that's going to take me down one road, or I can have the moment when I'm in the present moment to turn and go down another road. So this morning I noticed I had the podcast on for probably like 20 minutes. And then I noticed, do I really need this? Because I'm feeling a little like, not bad or anything, just kind of like, it feels busy in my head. It feels busy in my body. And I don't like that feeling. I don't think it's a feeling that is normal. We've really, in this society, created this culture of busy. And I, as a lawyer, believed that was just the way life was, because I saw everyone else in my surroundings behaving that way, and I thought, that must be how it is. Like, that's just how we're supposed to be in the world. And so I took that environment, I adopted that as myself, and I adopted that as my identity. And so I had this feeling of busyness in my body all the time. I wouldn't have even described it as anxiety. I think looking back now, it was a low-level anxiety, but it was this constant busyness happening in my body. So I started to recognize that, and I said, well, what is creating this? And what was happening is the environment I was creating for myself, because I wasn't present to my environment, I wasn't present to myself, I wasn't present to how I felt. I was creating an environment on default. It was on autopilot. And that environment was me working really hard, but not noticing how I felt while I worked. And it was me waking up in the morning and doing all of the things and running around and being busy, but not noticing how I felt and not taking that turn that I needed to be present in the moment and turn my day the way I wanted it to. What it meant was me being in such a rush that I'd get into the car and then I'd drive to the office and I'd get road rage, not recognizing how I felt or even giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. Like, my mind was a mess, and it created this turn during the day that made my life miserable. I was running through my day, rushing through my day, snapping at people that didn't deserve it. I was being the person I didn't want to be in the world. I wanted to be kind. I wanted to be clear. I wanted to be certain. I wanted to be connected. I wanted to be communicative. I wanted to be compassionate and empathetic. But I couldn't be those things. In fact, I couldn't even articulate those things to you back then. I'm just sharing that with you now, and benefit of hindsight, right? This is the benefit of having somebody who's gone through this and listening to what they've gone through and taking this on for yourself if it applies to you. I think it applies to all of us, but you know. And so when I got that awareness of how I felt, when I started getting present to me throughout the day, right? Like it's not just first thing in the morning. You can start there, but I do it throughout the day. I check in with myself all day long. And the more I practiced it, the more I started recognizing, oh, I'm creating the overwhelm. I'm creating the frustration. I just need to take a moment to be present with myself and make that turn for my day. I need to take the turn I want to take, not the one that's on default. So if my default is busyness all day and I'm feeling tense and I'm snapping at people, I need to take a pause. This is what it looks like. If I snapped at somebody, I would take a pause and then I would go and I'd apologize to that person. Or maybe I'd take a breath and I'd say, is that something that needs to be apologized for? Like, what do I feel here? What's the right thing to do? And sometimes it would be to go and apologize to that person. And that was the first step, because first I needed to notice it was happening. I needed to be present. And sometimes that happens after the fact, after you've done something that you were like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Oh, I wish I hadn't sent that email. Oh, I wish I hadn't talked to that person that way. And then you go back and you clean it up. And that's the process of change. A lot of people say, like, they'll beat themselves up and tell themselves, oh my God, I know better. I should know better. Hey, you don't know better. You logically, you understand it, but it's been a habit that has been ingrained in your body. So your body doesn't know better. Your body's like, no, what we do is this. We're used to being in a rush. We hurry around. We run through the office. We get things done. But did you know there's a better way to get things done? That you can actually feel calm. You can feel collected. You can make a turn in your day to create the day that you want. And that can happen at any present moment. Any moment during your day, you can turn it around. I teach this to my clients, and they forget, and that's okay. I would get a Post-it note, and I would write this down. When was the last time you reset? When was the last time you reset? I reset throughout my day. I reset first thing when I wake up in the morning. Okay, let me take a breath, do the things that we talked about. I reset even partway through my morning when I'm making coffee. I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a little tense, a little busyness in my body. Let me reset. Or I'm on my walk and I notice my brain make a complaint, and I take a moment. Hi.
Morning.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
So it's like every single moment during your day is an opportunity to take the turn you want, to change the day that you have. You might start the day feeling busy and overwhelmed. That's okay. You can turn it at any time. You can take a moment at any time. You can create a plan for yourself at any time. This is what I love about my timepiece for lawyers, students, and my one-on-ones too. It's like they learn how to take these skills, and they're just like, and then they make it their own. So they're like, their reset is, let me go back to my calendar. Let me look at my calendar and let me see, how do I take a turn? What do I need to prioritize? How do I move on from this? What's going on? Like, what do I need? That's a big question that nobody seems to ask themselves. And the reason I say nobody is because every time I bring this up in a coaching situation, every time I bring it up in a personal situation where I'm just talking to them because it's come up, I said, do you ask yourself what you need? And they say, no, I don't. And I say, okay, well, you always know what you need. You always know. Don't let your brain ever tell you that you don't know. You always have the answer, period. You are always connected with what you need. So if you pause in the moment and you could do that 5, 7, 8 breathing, get centered again, and then ask yourself, okay, what do I need? Or maybe what you need is that 5, 7, 8 breathing. Then you can reset and take a turn in your day, and you can make the day the way you want it. This is the power of being present with how you feel in your body, and being present on what you're thinking that's creating the situation, the environment that you're in, that you're feeling, the feelings that you're having right now. Understanding those things, oh my God, is life-changing. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear, are you applying these things? Do you already do them? What impact are they having in your life? Because when you do them, I guarantee you, you're going to see an impact. You're going to feel an impact. And you're going to enjoy your life more. You're going to truly be able to look around and say, oh, wow, look at these little dancing birds. Because you're going to focus your attention on that and the magic of life versus, the things you can't control. Because you can't control how somebody talks to you. Like if you have a client who, you can't control how many times a client emails, but you can control how you respond to it. You can control how you think about it. You can control the turn that you take during your day, how you reply to the emails, whether you decide to reply to the emails. These are things that are within your control. And the more you get present to yourself, the more you get present to your feelings, your thoughts, all those things, and the more you start to regain your power from that present moment, the more turns you'll be able to create. And the more turns you get to create for the better, the more you're going to enjoy your life. All right, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know what you think of this in the comments or DM me. I'd love to hear from you. All right, bye.